All eyes are on the higher education department as pupils from the matric class of 2018 prepare to enter tertiary education institutions. Now, some of the big issues facing matriculants include funding problems, of course, and the other issue of bogus colleges. Now, for more on the story now, Higher Education Minister Naledi Pandor joins us from our Durban studios. Minister, thanks very much for your time this morning. It's a day of celebration for many matrics, many schools around the country. For your department, Minister, just the number of matriculants now with university entrance passes, does it present a few challenges?
Good morning, Michelle, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Let me begin by congratulating the matriculant class of 2018. I think they've all done really well. Well done to the teachers, to the department, and the Minister of Basic Education. There are many opportunities in the post-school system. It's not just university entrance, there are colleges as well. And I think young people should really look at the wider breadth of opportunities available to them. By now, of course, they would have applied to universities and will begin to get their responses from early next week because they're on the system of the universities they've applied to. Several already have provisional acceptance. And once they're registered, those that you mentioned that might have funding challenges or who have applied to NSFAS will in January begin to get our confirmation as to whether they will be funded or not. Our systems are well geared. The administrator and team have been working very, very hard and in fact have already been processing the applications we've received, and responses have begun to go out.
So, Minister, you talk about NSFAS, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. 32 billion rand is what NSFAS has to disperse for 2019, for students for 2019. Is NSFAS ready, given the challenges we've seen in the preceding months?
I think for me, looking at the work that Dr. Randall Karalison and team have done, NSFAS has never been more ready. I'm anticipating that we're going to have a smooth beginning to the year. We already have agreed that upfront payments for NSFAS qualifying students' registration fees will go out to universities and to TVET colleges, so that students who are beneficiaries of NSFAS are not troubled by having to find this initial registration fee. So work is underway, our systems are geared up, and I think we have a far better functioning institution than previously.
Minister, in terms of fee-free higher education, that's the one issue, the insourcing of staff and accommodation as well this year. I mean, those present a different set of challenges for tertiary institutions when it comes to their budget allocations for each year and making sure that all of their expenses are covered.
Well, certainly there are challenges for institutions. The big one, I think, that you mentioned is that of student accommodation. You would know that last year we made a fairly significant allocation and have been doing so from government for the past few years to add more beds to institutions. We've already determined allowances for young people who will stay on campus residences and those who will have accommodation off campus. And young people will be supported in order for them to be able to begin the year well. We've also had an increase to the block subsidy to universities, a fairly significant one this year, in addition to last year's increase. So I think government is committed to addressing the challenges that we have had in the post-secondary education funding scheme. The third point that I need to make is that last year we introduced fee-free higher education, the NSFAS bursary, as we call it, for first-year students. You know this scheme is being phased in over 5 years. So this year it will be first years as well as second-year students from families whose income threshold is 350,000 annually. They will be studying for free. It will be at first and second year level. And in 2020, we go into first, second, and third. And we hope those third year students will be in their final year in order to create more places in 2021 for government to continue to support young people from poor and working class families.
Minister, I know you don't speak on behalf of NSFAS, but the issue of accommodation, that's one that was a big issue for a number of students last year who had their fees paid, but they didn't have any money left over to ensure they had a place to stay, a roof over their heads while they studied. Is that a priority this year?
It wasn't a question of money not being available. It was a problem of poor administration by the National Financial Aid Scheme. We have ironed out those problems and will be making the funds available to students in a different way from the past administration. So we have made arrangements for payments to students directly to an account that the students must manage, or directly to institutions for accommodation. What happened last year is exactly what we want to avoid from this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Minister, just in terms of your portfolio and ensuring the number of women, the number of black women students that we're seeing enrolling in these key sectors of studying, science, mathematics and the like, how do you feel as we go into 2019 about the numbers we've seen in 2018?
Well, I think South Africa should celebrate, because in higher education, at the university level, women are a majority. They're at 52%. However, there are fields in which they're not yet a significant presence, one of them being engineering. The numbers have begun to tick up, but we would like to see a far greater presence. We also need to look, I think, at the postgraduate science entry numbers for women at the master's and PhD levels. We do have significant entry up to honors, but there's a decline at master's and PhD. And I think these are areas in which more opportunity should be provided, in which stronger mentorship should be available, and steering of young women toward these fields should become a priority interest for us. But nevertheless, we must celebrate the fact of women being a majority in universities, being an increasing presence in post-secondary education. This shows that South Africa is making advances. So what we need to attack are the non-traditional discipline areas of study in order to improve the numbers there. And of course, we want to see more women academics, more women as professors, full professors, not associate, not junior.
Yeah.
These are things that I think we still need to work on.
Well, Minister, as we end off our interview with you, perhaps just a word of encouragement for those who are going into tertiary institutions, into TVET colleges for 2019 and the years after that.
Well, I think I would say to young people entering university and college, you are beginning another stage of life. You are entering the most exciting part of intellectual challenge that you're going to be confronted with. It's hard work required there. You will be far more independent than you were at school. And so we will rely on you to be responsible, to be attentive, to be disciplined. But you're going to have an absolutely wonderful time. And we have some great institutions and programs. So wonderful, and good luck to you all.
Well, thank you very much. Higher Education Minister Naledi Pandor joining us live there from our studios in Durban.